right, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Facilities Talk with the Froelich Brothers. I want to introduce our guest who's been very kind to find the time to sit down and talk facilities with us, Brian Johnson, Director of Facilities for Franklin Regional Schools. Brian, good morning. Thanks for coming on, man. This is cool.
Appreciate it. Yep, looking
This
forward
is
to it.
the format that we like to hang out with other facilities folks and talk about what it means to our lives and what we do on a daily, the decisions we make and how they impact the facility itself. Approach to facilities, the whole nine. It's an open forum. Talk face to face over this camera here and see how things are going in your world, Brian, at Franklin Regionals. Give us a little background on yourself, Brian. How long have you been with the school district?
But that's actually coming up on a year now.
Okay.
I was previously with another district, but I actually started working my way up through the department. So I was a custodian for 7 or 8 years, then transitioned over to a maintenance tech at another school district, actually my alma mater where I'm from. Did that, was president of the union over there for 7 years as well for our support staff over there. So that included custodial, maintenance, secretaries, and paraprofessionals, right? So I had a full group of that. And then about my year 10 there, they promoted me up to the facility supervisor and custodial supervisor. So I did that for about a year and a half at that district, and then last July I was hired here. So
That's incredible, man.
yeah, yep. It's nice too because I moved to the district, which is great, right? So I'm only 5 minutes away from each building or each campus we have here, and I coach football here too. So I coach our offensive line, and I'm our strength and conditioning coach. So
You took one of my questions away. I was going to ask, are you a football coach?
yes,
You
I
look
am.
like
I'm
a
a football
football
coach.
coach, Brian.
Yep, yep. So I've been here. This will be my third year here. I've been coaching for about 10 years total.
That's fantastic, man. And all in the high school rankings
Yep.
of coaching?
Yep, all in high school. So yeah, over here in Western Pennsylvania. So I was at
Yeah.
Woodland Hills School District, Mount Lebanon School District, and then I've been here for the last 3 years. So
Man, that's great.
yeah,
Yeah, Peggy for about, what, 40 years old?
42. Yeah, so there you
42?
go. Yep.
Well, you know Jerry Bonneberger?
I know the name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Good guy
South
from that
Fayette.
area. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we played football together at Westminster.
Oh, okay, all
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so I'm a Woodland Hills graduate. I graduated in 2001, so I played under Coach Novak and
Yeah, Coach
all that
Novak,
stuff.
man,
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
yep,
That was
yep.
class '02, some year behind you.
Okay, look,
Yeah,
small world. There
it
we
is a
go.
small world. Lived in Cranberry Township for a little bit of my life. Yeah.
That's even better. I had a mortgage company in Cranberry
Oh,
Township
I
in the
bet
Conference
you did.
Center up there. Yeah, that's what I did when I got out of school, and then
That's where all
transitioned into this somehow, right?
the insurance reps, mortgage brokers, he's got them all.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
That's
that's great.
awesome, Brian. Great,
It
man.
is.
Well, that's a cool story.
Yeah.
I have a similar background in my industry as well. I started, as just a helper on the roof or on the roofs for during the summers of my college career. Interned after that in the office, and then started helping in the estimating department and doing some project management support, over to sales, over to a leadership role, and now working here for our family company, Team of Roofing, as one of the four brothers that works for our parents. Hence the name of the podcast.
Oh, that's great.
So
That's awesome.
that's where the name of the podcast comes from, Brian.
That's great. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Always in Eastern Ohio, Western PA area. That's where our union is out of. So Local 71 covers that large area. So it's always a good thing to be close to PA because you guys got a lot of good industry over there, a lot of good school districts. Franklin being one of them.
Yes.
They're lucky to have you, Brian. So tell me about your day to day. Like, what does your day typically look like? You get there in the morning and you gotta put out 12 fires, 15 fires.
Usually, right?
Yeah,
I get in here. I'm an early riser, so it's nice. I get a day in before a day, right? So for
yeah.
me personally, so I'm sane when I get here. But I'm usually here anywhere between 6 and 8. Just depends on the day or what I got going at night. Because as you know, it's not a 5-day a week, 40-hour job. It's a 24/7, 7 days a week, and you're nonstop no matter what. It doesn't matter if I'm at my kid's baseball game or whatever. I'm getting calls, right? If I'm in Myrtle Beach at a baseball tournament, I'm getting calls. So, but I get here between 6 and 8. Usually get in here. I'll talk to my secretary, to my maintenance foreman, and see what's going on, see if there's anything I missed, see if there's any fires we immediately got to put out, where we're at, and usually get down to my computer, start going through work orders, right? Double check all that, see what got resolved the night before, see where we got to go for the day. take care of that, and then I kind of just start diving into my list for the day. You know, I'm the type of guy that likes to break things down and have those three major things I want to get accomplished on that day. And, you know, if I get done with them quick, great. I'll move on to three more later in the day. But that's my focus usually for the day. Now, as you know, you pivot constantly.
That's right.
There's never a moment where I'm not getting a call from a principal or our superintendent or, you know, Murraysville Police or something like that, or something going on around the way. So you got to be able to juggle a lot. You do, you know, and then with coaching and things like that here, I try to get the big stuff of my day wrapped up by 2, and then I can get in the weight room and help the kids out with all that and get that in. And like you say, in the evenings, I'm still riding around the district, checking things out, making sure we're good to go, especially when we got major events. You know, most districts now operate as community centers, right? You know, you have functions constantly. It doesn't matter whether it's summer or winter, you're always going. So I like to keep my finger on all that. I like to know everything, right? I don't want to micromanage anybody. I'm a big believer in decentralized command. You handle it, take some accountability. So I try to give my employees that freedom, whether they're custodians or maintenance, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't care how you get to A to B, just get there and make sure it's done in a safe and secure way, right? So yeah, man, it's my day to day is hectic. Like I blink and it's already Wednesday, right? Like that's just how it goes. So.
And you're working 7 days a week, like you said, Brian.
Yeah, it is, and it's not. And, you know, this week we got graduation, right? So I got graduation Friday, so we're trying to set that up. I got a paving project coming this summer. I getting all the mechanicals on the roof replaced, doing some new signage here.
Wow.
So you know, I'm trying to coordinate all that to start June 9th, right? Like June 9th, no kids, we're rolling, right? I want someone on the roof. I want milling starting. Trying to figure out those crane schedules and all that's been good the last few weeks, but I love it. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'd rather be busy than
You know,
not.
you've been smiling the whole time you're describing all this work, and it just gets a good feeling that you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah, I am. You know, and it helps my kids are in this district, right? Like my son's in 6th grade. Yeah, son's in 6th. My daughter's in 4th. So my self-serving nature for them is good for everybody, right? And
Absolutely, yeah.
I always say I'm not here to worry about anything else. I have no ego, right? What I'm worried about is, do I provide a great environment for kids to thrive in? And that's it. And you know, if you're not doing that, then you shouldn't be here and you should be working for a school district.
That's exactly right. It takes more people like you for that to have a large impact on a community. They're lucky to have you, Brian, because what you're laying out and describing is dedication. You're dedicating your life. This isn't just your work day, this is your life. You're in Myrtle Beach at a baseball tournament, and you're answering that phone,
Yep.
and you're putting out fires.
Yes.
That's really impressive. I mean, I'm sure it's demonstrated every step of the way, and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah. So far, so good, right? They haven't thrown me out 11 months right now, so it seems to be all right. Yeah, man. It's just like you say. I don't know any other way, right?
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in Turtle Creek. We're family, right? All that good stuff, that whole sob story. But I don't know any other way. How do you got to climb out? You got to do it yourself. You got to figure it out, right? So, you know, sometimes my secretary laughs. She calls me a tornado sometimes because I'm going, right? And when I first started, she wasn't used to it. I won't speak back on anybody else, but she just wasn't used to it, right? So when I got in here, I think after the first week, she told me, she goes, I didn't know if I was going to retire or if I was going to keep going because.
You know, what's her name, Brian? You want to give her some love on the
Oh, Dee, yeah, Dee's the best, man. She's great. I keep trying to barter with her to see if I can get her for 2-4 more years. However I can get, whatever I can get is going to be great.
That's good, smart man, Brian.
Yep. She will now be after the end of June, she'll be the longest tenured secretary in the district. So she'll be here 27 years, something like that. So
that is incredible.
Yeah. So
that is really awesome. You're right.
I got lucky.
You can't replace that, man.
No, you can't. You can't. You know, so it's, you know, at times I'm like, I tell her like,
you can't teach speed.
Right.
You can't teach 27 years of experience.
Right. No, you cannot. You can't, man. That's it. It's times too. I tell her like, you know, sometimes I can be not only a tornado, but I'm a little hard sometimes, right? Because we got to be where we got to be. But she takes it in stride. She gives it right back, which is great. You know, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. So, yeah.
That's great. So she's a big part of your team. What does your team look like overall, Brian? How many men and women do you have working for you on a daily basis?
So I have 31 custodians, and then I have 10 maintenance. Yeah, on a day-to-day, and then obviously that's all broken out shift-wise, how it's broken out. But so 43.
Big number.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
not
big
bad.
number.
On
Yeah.
top of the day to day, right? It can get there, but like you say,
Right.
if you just kind of give these guys what they need, right,
Mhm.
and not sit there and say, hey, listen, you got to wash that toilet counterclockwise, not clockwise, right? We don't need to micromanage anybody, because the reality is this district was operating well enough from that standpoint before I got here, right? So you don't got to come in and reinvent a wheel. Like, I don't need to impose what my thoughts are. And just because I did something some way as a custodian doesn't mean they're going to do it as a custodian this way. Just the same way when I was maintenance. It didn't matter that I, did my small, preventive maintenance on our small machines this way. If the guy's doing it this way and it gets it done, who cares?
That's right.
But I found if you just treat them with respect and show them you care, you don't have a problem,
No.
right? So it's nice and life's easy. And of course, here and there, you got to put the proverbial foot somewhere. It's the nature of the beast, right? It
Right.
happens. But
That's
as long
right.
as and I take that coaching philosophy. If I can coach you hard, but then love you up afterwards, we're all right.
That's right. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you stop yelling, that's when
Yeah.
they should be worried.
Right. That's exactly it. Right. If
Yeah,
I'm not on you because of something, then that's a problem.
that's right. That's a beautiful way to handle it. It sounds like you have the approach of someone who's thinking long term for the team, the sake of the
Yep.
team, not just yourself.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's being accounted for and holding themselves accountable as well. The weakest link idea, you got to have a strong chain, and that starts at the top. And, you and D, driving that thing together to make sure that everyone's on board, heading in the same direction. How do you handle adding to this strong team you got?
Well, uh, you know, really, it's just giving them the tools to set them up for success.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get more employees, right? Not
sure.
right now, because our footprint's not going to change that much. So it's going
Yeah,
to stay what it is. We're in the middle of talking through a few things that might change the footprint a little bit in the design of what this campus will look like eventually, which I can't really get into. But when that happens, I'll cross that bridge, right? But for
yeah.
now, it's really just setting these guys up with, I got them a new Bobcat. We're getting them a scissor lift. We're doing,
Mhm.
cordless vacs, things that they haven't got done before. From systems they can use to do their floors, things that are going to put them in the right place, that we're going to be very efficient and logistical with our summer cleaning, with our preventative maintenance, all that. Before we were bidding out paper products, right? And,
Yeah,
and you have 9,000 pallets of stuff sitting here. Well, why do we do that? Let's figure out how we can beat that and condense that down, maybe save some cost and not have all this overflow. Little tweaks like that, making everyone's life easier, it goes a long way. And I learned that just from being a custodian, right? When I was a custodian, you're sitting there and you're like, all right, how do we become more efficient in what we're doing, but at the same time being fiscally responsible with the district, right? Things like that. And, when you had that manager that came in and it was my way or the highway, or this is what you're going to use and can't have any suggestions, then,
uh-huh.
things crumble, right? And it
Right.
doesn't work. So I've really found, I guess, short story or short answer is just, set them up for success and, you pivot when you have to. That's it.
No, I appreciate your, willingness to elaborate. That's the value that we're looking to add on this channel is helping other people in your seat. Hear from people like you, especially people like you, Brian, that looks at it from a holistic, perspective. Everyone involved is impacting the outcome. You don't just support them, you got to have ears to listen to them, eyes to look for ways for them to improve. And then, the willingness to take the time out to be in front of them and hear them. Those are all ingredients to a very highly successful team. So this is one of our better episodes. I'm not just saying that because you've given a lot of support to why you do what you do, and on a daily basis. It's your routine at this point. With that, being said, and all these great examples, continuing to empower them with the right tools and equipment, and resources available readily. Is there a part of you that can step away more, or do you still continue to, the same routine every day with them as far as managing them at that level, or maybe delegating anything extra, things like that? Do you think about, Brian?
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends on the day, right? So
Yeah.
really, but like to me, I'm a big believer in, like I said, that decentralized command. If I got 20 other things other than running these 40 some people
Right.
or, making sure our PM schedules are up to date. Like, like I said, I got the paving, I got the HVAC, I got other improvements I got to get done around this district that aren't cheap, right? So
Right.
sometimes I have to say, like, to Randy, and Randy's another one, my maintenance foreman,
Nice. Excellent.
but
Randy.
like,
What's up, Randy? Shout out to
you give
Randy.
him a huge shout out because
That's
he allows
awesome.
me to be able to dig into the stuff I need to dig into at times. Because with him, I just sometimes don't have to say to him, hey, look, I'll be in meetings with architects all day, or I got to go handle this, and I don't have to worry about
That's amazing.
anything, because he just knocks it out of the park, man.
That's
So
incredible.
to be able to do that is
And he's
huge.
your foreman. He's your foreman.
He's
You.
our, yeah, he's my maintenance foreman. So he's a
Yeah.
working foreman, right? And that's another thing. So he's in that union. He's a working foreman. He's great, man. He is the right hand. D could be the left hand. He's the right hand, and it's that you fail, we fail mentality. But it's nice because I can actually focus on what we need to focus on to improve as a district,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then I only have to get involved whenever I have to get involved, right?
Right.
So unless there's a major issue or major decision, like I always will say to them, hey, I trust you to make the right decision. If it's something that's going to be big and if you have one doubt, then you
Yep.
come to me,
That's
right?
right.
That's fine, and I'll be the guy that, because the buck stops with me,
That's
right? I'll
right.
be the guy to take that heat, and even if you
Sure.
make that decision, I'm going to take that heat if there's something wrong. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Yeah.
I'll help you out, right? But yeah, man, it's a blessing to have these two and to be able to say, to really on a day-to-day basis not have a set schedule, because I don't have to worry about it. I can actually just go be me and do what I do, and it's nice.
That's amazing. And I'm not surprised to hear that. Has Randy been there a long time with the district?
He was here before I got hired for a few years, left, and then I think he was here for a little over a year before I got here again. So yeah, and he used to be just a second shift maintenance guy. His specialty is HVAC, but really he does everything.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one
So,
thing I got blessed here. Actually, all my maintenance guys are pretty skilled.
are they?
Yeah,
Are
I
they
don't have to
all union?
outsource a lot.
Is your entire crew union crew?
Yes, yeah.
That's
So yeah, they're
you're still
all
the
union.
president of that board, Brian?
What's that?
You're still the president of
No, no,
no,
no.
not
That
you.
was in Woodland Hills.
Okay.
When I became the facility supervisor there, you have to back out all that, right?
I see.
So it can't be a union, can't be in the union if you're managing and all that with the
Okay.
features and everything like that. So yeah,
Right.
but yeah, so I don't have to deal with all that, which is nice.
That is nice.
But
There's a lot
yeah,
involved with that. And
but
it's
yeah, there
very
is.
important. And,
Yeah,
with all due respect, it's almost, the idea is you got to be committed just like you are in your real job, your
correct.
paying job.
Yeah, well, listen, I had to negotiate contracts when I was in my
Right.
previous place, right, as president union. So me being able, I went through 2 contract negotiations
Wow.
where I was before, right? So it also gives me another perspective from this seat, right? Because now, like, it's almost they're damned if they do, damned if they don't, right? Because I know your contract. I know your contract, and I know how you want to get around your contract, right? It's like just because I didn't negotiate that contract doesn't mean I know what you got in it, right? So
Not
like,
far off.
it's tough, and I always tell them like I already know how you're gonna come at me if you do got to come at me. Now, knock on wood, I don't do things that I got to worry about getting grieved and all that stuff every night. Like I just got a little one, but it's not that big. We're gonna work it out. So it's like if you do the right things and you follow the contract, there's nothing you got to worry about, right?
Exactly right.
But it gave me a great perspective.
Spoken contract.
Yeah, it gave me a great perspective from this seat to be able to manage it, like you say, holistically and say, okay, now I can look at it from this angle. I can see it from this angle. I see it from custodian. I see it from maintenance. I see it from the president of the union, and I see it from this seat right now because
Yeah.
I was in all that, right? So it's nice because then it allows me to step back sometimes and check myself and say, oh, take that hat off. How did you view it here?
Right.
And then approach it from a different angle. Maybe there's a different solution that way, So,
That's exactly right. And being in a school and your story, everything that we've been lucky to have you on our podcast and listen to you, how you've gotten to be the man you are today, the path you chose. Those kids in that school can really get a lot of great insight out of that and how things truly work in the real world. You worked your way up. That
Mhm.
is something that is very much alive and well in today's world. For them to understand that and have someone like you in the building every day and seeing them often and having that example in their lives, that's got to be that just itself is an impactful opportunity for you in that facility. How do you see the next generation, Brian? What are your thoughts? You see them a lot more than I do.
I see a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear a lot and I see a lot. Sometimes I don't want to hear or see it, right?
Are they going to be working for us soon, or what do you think's the trend now with this next generation.
I think you're going to see a lot more blue collar coming out of these.
Good.
Here's the thing I like to say, and I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but like these kids there are very tech savvy, right? But
Right.
not a lot of them are street smart savvy, right? Like
Right.
it's weird. But I think just you're seeing a trend too, where a lot of them are like, I don't want to go to school. Like I want to make money now. And
Yeah.
I had a few football players this year that they had opportunities they could have went and played in college, but then they're like, nah, I'm gonna go be in the carpenters union, or I'm gonna, go weld. And that's fine. But the reality is right now out in our world, it's needed. We need skilled laborers, right? It's fading away. We don't have that. So I think you're going to start seeing a trend towards that direction with a lot of these kids, especially in a district like mine. Some of these kids, a lot of people think Murraysville is like an Upper St. Clair. It's all affluent and this, but the reality, it's not. It's more closer to a Woodland Hills with demographics out here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not as many minorities, but as far as income, yes, right? So you got a lot of blue collar families that still live in this district, and those kids want to stay with those type of trades. So I think you're going to see a trend, and you're going to see a lot more coming into that workforce in our area. Within the next 5 years, I would imagine it's going to pick up pretty significantly.
That's exciting. We love to hear that. That's something that we value here. We're trying to get involved with our union to go out and speak to these kids and talk about what their opportunity looks like in the trades. And to have the example at home, like it sounds like your students have, that makes a huge impact. I mean, that can really change a lot of people's perspective on the trades.
Yeah, right. It does, and it's kind of cool to see the mix of the demographic, right? Because here graduation isn't a celebration. Yes, you're celebrating you're graduating, but it's what's expected, right?
Yeah.
It's just the next step in life for a lot of these kids academically. Some kids, it's the next step in life that, yeah, I'm gonna branch off from that norm. So it's nice to see how each kid navigates through that path,
Yeah.
right? That's the interesting part, and I'm blessed enough to get to see it with coaching, because then I get 70 individuals that are completely different and have different viewpoints and families viewpoints of life, and to watch these kids try to navigate and figure out how they're going to become young adults. Because in the reality of this is, whether you're an educator or you're a coach at this level, at high school, middle school, whatever, we're trying to raise better young adults, young women, young men. That's all we really want. We want better, productive members of society. To me, when I'm coaching wins and losses, they're a byproduct of that. They're a byproduct of whatever culture we create or how we shape these young adults' lives. But it's the same thing as far as my employees. Like, so that viewpoint doesn't stop just because they're graduating high school. I don't care if the guy's been here 25 years. Like, I still want to create a better, productive member of society through my department, because that's a reflection of my department. They say you're not a leader unless you can create another leader who makes another leader.
Right. That's right.
You might never do that, but you better strive to.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I see with people in your position. We see them a lot. That's typically where I start and finish with our company and our customers, is the facilities director. They impact the culture on every level. I mean, whatever their values and beliefs are, that's going to be reflected with the facility itself. You can see it, you can feel it. It kind of has indications as you walk throughout a building to understand the way they handle their facilities, So with that, going into all the different situations that you come across, with the school district being so large, Franklin's a complex campus, right? So you have everything in one building. Is that correct?
No, so we have two campuses.
Two campuses.
So our one campus, which I'm based out of the high school, right? They keep me in this dungeon in the high school. So I'm here at the high school, and our middle school's on the same campus, and our admin's on the same campus, right?
Okay.
And then obviously all our athletics are up here. And then out probably about 5 minutes away, it's on Sardis Road, a little further out. I call it Sloan campus, but it's our primary and our intermediate.
Okay.
And that primary within the last 3 years was completely renovated, and that intermediate is a brand new building within the last 3 years. They demoed that campus,
Oh,
put
wow.
two new areas there, yeah. It is complex because 5 minutes away, doesn't seem it, but if there's a problem, it's a lifetime, right? So it's, and most importantly, when you attack that and you look at it, like I want my buildings and my campus to be safe and secure first, right? So if we're safe and secure and we got all those in place, that's great. Then my warm, dry conditions better be on point, right? That's really it. And then after that, we just figure it out, right? Because everything pops off. And then it's even crazier because I got two new buildings, right? new that sometimes are worse off than my old buildings, right? Just the nature of the beast, right? So it's just, especially with all the automated systems now, the DDC, all this
Oh,
and
yeah.
that, and the lighting systems that fail constantly. I feel like I'm dealing with more technical stuff half the time than I am getting into the meats and bones of the maintenance and
Yeah,
mechanical. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
technology, man, and that was on
Yeah,
my list, Brian.
right.
It sounds like you're using a lot of technology in your day to day. Does it help or hurt?
Both. Both,
Both.
right? I mean, when it's working correctly, it makes life easier. We have two DDC systems, which I'm not big on, right? One for that campus, one for this campus. I'd rather have one whole with one vendor, but whatever. Figure that out. That one I'm okay, right? Like that DDC system's all right. It gives me what I need. I got to do a few upgrades here and there, add a few sensors, do a few places, no big deal. When you get into stuff like lighting controls and things like that aren't controlled through the DDC, they're a whole separate programming and
Right, right.
all that. Like that's what gets you. And then like even fire panels now, like they're
Yeah,
becoming a pain in the butt,
yeah.
right? Like I find I have more problems with my lighting technology and my fire panels than I have with anything else, right?
Yes, right.
Um, another thing that I love that helps is, my system for my management, right? For my work orders and my
Yeah.
facility requests. When I first got here, it was, they still did facility requests by paper.
Hmm.
So you're getting all this paper in and you send all this paper out and then stuff's getting missed and it's an antiquated system they were in. So then I merged all that into one system, which I love.
That's
Um,
fantastic. And you took the lead on that, Brian?
yes, yeah, yeah. We
That's
actually just kicked it
impressive.
off June 1st. So
That's
sent out our
impressive,
links to our
man. Yeah.
community, things like that. We were already using the maintenance work orders through that. But then, when you get here and you see it, the capability in that system, which I was already familiar with because I used it in my previous place, not many PM schedules in it, things like that. You don't have much asset management in it. They were still doing that by paper. So that's the next evolution of it is to probably
Yes.
put asset management into it. But those are the things that help. Like my DDC, my work order system and facility scheduling system are great. It is the little things like lighting and fire. Well, fire panels aren't little, but
No,
those type of things with network errors,
that's right.
that's the pain in the butt, man. They're like, we get a glitch in the power, and you got to go be diligent about resetting everything everywhere and replacing light switches, and so that's my pain in the butt.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
No,
it
I
is.
can feel it, Brian, because I
Yeah,
mean, like you point to, it'd be great if we had it all on one system, but
yeah,
right now it's just not realistic, right?
right,
So you got to
correct.
manage it. You got to handle it.
That's it.
You can
That's
only
it.
control what you can control, right?
Right. Yeah, that's
You
it.
got
I
to
can only
handle it.
control my reaction, but
You know, you can be like, I'm out.
that's it. We'll just handle it. Sometimes you gotta tell the guys, like you're like, guys, you're dealt the sandwich. What do you want me to do?
That's right.
Like, we just got to make sure we handle it to the best of our ability. I said, if you want to complain, go complain, but do it under your breath. Just get it fixed for me, please. All right? And they do. To their credit, they do. It's just, I told them, hey, I didn't build the building. I didn't spec it.
You can improve it. You can do everything perfectly well as far as your operations go, but at the end of the day, some of these systems they
See?
are what they are, man. And they were
And
installed when they were installed.
yeah, and the other factor is the money,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I still got to be fiscally responsible with taxpayers' money, and then I'm a taxpayer here too. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes I'll even tell people, hey, listen, I'll raise my taxes a little bit for my kids to have a better experience,
Sure,
right?
sure.
But the reality is, we got to be fiscally responsible. So just because I don't like something, right, doesn't mean I can go ahead and fix it right away. Like you got to plan that out. You got to have your 5-year plan. There's other things that take precedent because to me, like I told you, safety, security, warm, dry conditions are the most important thing in my opinion to get these places going and making sure our students are okay. So I got to replace a roof. Well, guess what? I'm not going to drop another couple $100,000 to upgrade the whole DDC system. It's
Exactly.
not going to happen. We can get by for now,
Right.
right?
That's right.
Yeah, and the maintenance guys grumble a little bit, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, like you got to understand it's either that or I got you on the roof patching stuff up all day. Do you want to do
Right.
that, right?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's the biggest thing is what do you prioritize and how do you get your 5-year plan scheduled out so that you're being fiscally responsible and at the same time taking care of the things you need to take care of, right?
Yes.
So
Yep. And that 5 year can change in year three. It just, things happen.
change in 2 months.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right.
it's crazy, right? Like we just did all that, did our capital project planning and all that stuff, and I think within a week after everything that I had on there board approved, I came out and I was like, yeah, we got to change something, right? Like just something bad happened. Yeah. So by the way, remember that? Scratch that, erase it, flip it, and we're gonna go here. right? Like it's reality. It's hour to hour, man. Yeah.
That's fantastic, Brian. Well, I know you got a lot on your plate, and we really appreciate your time. So, there's a lot of things within this episode that I think stood out. So, one of my usual last questions I don't think is necessary, which is highlight something that you feel has made a big impact on your district. You named about 15 of them, so we really appreciate it. You're a great leader. Franklin Regional's lucky to have you. So, Brian, thank you very much for your time, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on. Really did. This was
Absolutely.
great.
Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely. Check us out. Future episodes. Like it, subscribe it. We appreciate it, Brian.
Will do, man.
Hey, good luck graduation, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a great year.
Thank you. Take care, man.
You too.
Appreciate you.
Take care.
Bye.